Thank you all so very, very much for coming and being here. And I'd like to just begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, we come in Jesus' name. We thank you on this day for Rylan and for how you've brought him through school, through cancer, and through every other challenge and obstacle to turn 18, be ready for college. Pray, Lord, that you bless our few minutes together as we celebrate and invite your hand and blessing on him and in his life. Thank you for these, for our family and for these friends who gather today. Be with us and encourage us as well as Rylan. Thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, I've got somebody waiting in the wings in case I don't make it through this, but I'm going to give it a try. And I want to just reiterate, thank you very much for coming. I know it's a busy holiday season, but we really appreciate you being here with us to celebrate Rylan today. Rylan actually finished up his classes in July, but we decided to wait till now to celebrate his graduation for various reasons. He was rather busy during the summer, either receiving chemo treatments or sitting on the freeway. We calculated he logged over 6,600 miles between here and Seattle. So we are celebrating now that he's done and Kyler is back from gallivanting across the pond. And we just appreciate you coming. Rylan had a buddy, I think if you followed us on the Caring Bridge site, Curtis, who was also diagnosed shortly before graduation. They were in this same diagnosis, same stage, and he was also a rock climber, so it was really great for Rylan to have a buddy to go through this with. But I heard that Curtis's high school decided to freeze his grades. They didn't make him take finals. They didn't make him do any final projects. So I felt kind of like the cruel headmistress, like, you are going to finish your Latin. So he plugged away, and eventually about halfway through chemo treatments, he finished Latin. So I was very excited for him because he made it. And it didn't dawn on me at that time that that meant not only was he done homeschooling, she's going to lose it. But I was too. And it has been quite a journey. We decided to try homeschooling for kindergarten and just see how it went. Apparently it went okay, because here we are 15 years later. And you might think that after getting in kind of the homeschool groove with one student, it should be fairly easy for the second. However, any of you who know Kyler and Rylan realize that they are what could be termed polar opposites in many, if not most, dimensions in life. So what worked for one wouldn't necessarily work for the other. Early on, we had friends who referred to Rylan as gross motor man. He was a mover and a doer, which incidentally also helped him to translate it into him being my ER child. He provided plenty of opportunities to try out medical facilities in various states. In those early years, he wasn't much interested in reading and bookwork, so doing school was really viewed as an inconvenience. But he hung in there, and by the time we reached high school, we were finally able to find some coursework that began to tap into some of his passions. One of those being speech and debate. As you probably know, Rylan loves to make people laugh. So doing humorous interpretations provided him with a great outlet for doing that. But he didn't settle for just the humorous platform that he was comfortable with. He stretched himself by doing a year of debate. He did a serious Shakespeare monologue and even a dramatic inter. Quite a few of his electives were spent in the realm of art. It's truly been a joy to watch him continue to hone his artistic gift. From an early age, he showed that a gift that he obviously didn't get from me. Anyone who's played Pictionary with me can attest to that. His math workbooks sometimes resembled sketchbooks as much as they did math books. He even fulfilled a childhood dream this fall by getting his greeting card business up and rolling. The other elective that actually really caught fire with him was computer science. He's learned a number of computer languages as well as animation, which combines his right-brained artistic abilities with his left-brain computer bent. He's actually a pretty interesting blend of both. And despite this unanticipated gap year, he's not sitting around sulking about a change in plans. He's working at Hagen, doing some graphic design work, working on music, painting, programming, designing greeting cards, and working out at the gym at 7 in the morning. He met his cancer challenge with strength, courage, and humor. He would have the doctors and nurses laughing in the operating room right before they put him under. That's just Rylan's way. Next fall, he will resume his original plan to attend George Fox, and I'm sure he'll meet that challenge with the same vigor. It has been quite an amazing ride thus far with Rylan, and it will be very exciting to see how God will use your many gifts and passions. I love you. So, with that, why don't you come on up, and we would like to hand off your diploma and make this all official.
Good afternoon. It's pretty cool, huh? Who knew homeschooling could be so official? Well, after that cool presentation and wonderful speech from the best teacher that I've ever had. My favorite teacher, too. What we're going to do now is what I call the graduation medley. My mom mentioned that I enjoy making music. I make a lot of electronic music, and recently I've been more interested in acoustic stuff, but I like to try my hand out at making sounds. Even though I can't read music myself, I like to listen to it, and I like to play around and make it. And so over the past 4 years, I think, I've been teaching myself, not really music theory, but sound design, I should say. And I've come up with a number of melodies that I really enjoy. And if you know my brother Kyler, you know he's fantastic at piano. And so I thought, why not put the two of these together? So what I did was I arranged a piece of music, which I call the Graduation Medley, which is just a compilation of some of my melodies that I've written for some of my songs, most of which you can't find online right now, but are sitting on my hard drives for me to enjoy. And so Kyler will be playing piano for this, and he convinced me to play the organ along with him, which was a terrible idea. Because I can't read my own sheet music, but he taught me the notes that I'll be playing, and I memorized them. So without further ado, I hope you'll enjoy this arrangement. Musical performance I have done in 18 years. Well, I guess I'm supposed to make a few comments here. Since this is my graduation, I'll probably say something. Now, you're sitting here, which most of you are. You already know who I am. I really don't need much of an intro here. But I've known Rylan for as long as I can remember. Even though he really can be a pain in the posterior, I've learned to live with the guy. I'm really glad that he asked me to speak today because there's really no other subject with which I have more to say. It really brings me unparalleled joy to talk about him. So please bear with me as I give a brief summary of his life. Rylan had a rough start in life. And unlike every other person here, he was born into slavery. He began life trapped in the dark. So cramped he could do nothing but kick the walls which held him. For 9 months he endured these conditions, until eventually his patience ran out, and he took it upon himself to escape his unique situation. Needless to say, his mother was ready for him to move out as well. So on March 25th in 1999, Rylan was born in St. Louis, Missouri. Now upon entering the outside world, you might think life would have gotten a little easier for him. Think again. Unfortunately for Rylan, he was born into a loving, God-fearing family. He was never allowed the freedom to steal and lie and kill people. He was taught to love his neighbor as himself. But these overbearing rules didn't bother him, didn't dampen his spirit at least. So he played along. He followed his parents' game, and he followed their rules perfectly. Now, in the 4 years he lived in Missouri, somewhere over there, Rylan began to discover one of the biggest trials of his life, his brother Kyler. So much could be said about that influential character in Rylan's story. I should probably write an entire speech about it. Thank you. I'm glad someone got that. Now, it's sufficient to say that Kyler pushed Rylan's buttons more than anyone else in his life. He forced Rylan to grow mentally, spiritually, physically, and all without even knowing it. His very existence drove Rylan to be greater than he already was. I did it on purpose that time. I digress. Upon moving to Washington State in 2003, Rylan faced a new hardship: education. Unlike society's cream of the crop students, he was not put in a public school. He was homeschooled. He was schooled at his house. This created an environment in which Rylan's relationship with his family was strengthened. He was brought up to teach himself. And very slowly, he began to enjoy learning. The friends he made in the hometown of Mount Vernon were other burdens for him. Their achievements, just like Kyler, were motivating for him. They inspired him to work harder. He played and competed with them, developing strong, long-lasting friendships. Now, Rylan had many interests growing up. He played sports until his senior year of high school, trying his hand at everything from baseball to rink hockey, basketball, soccer, you name it. Though he played well and excelled in most of his athletic activities, he never took pride in his abilities. I mean, he brushed off his strength. He never once mentioned his large muscles. Especially not to cute girls. Just wasn't Rylan. He always enjoyed creating things and building things. Building with Legos developed a love for artistic design as well as logical construction. In his high school years, he passionately pursued drawing, sound design, computer programming. He would sketch for hours, or create music, or design video games, and he continued to do so to this very day. However, his shy nature prevents him from discussing his hobbies, so don't bother asking him about it. Probably doesn't want to talk about it at all. Rylan applied to and was accepted by the college of his choice. He works at a grocery store within walking distance of his house, and he still has time to make speeches about himself. As I'm sure you picked up on by now, Rylan has had a hard life. A very hard life. I hope you can also discern sarcasm when you can hear it. Right now. I stand here today not just to celebrate my own achievements, which obviously I'm here to do it. I'm enjoying it a lot too. But I'm here out of thankfulness for your achievement. Because you are the reason I am who I am. You're the reason my life is so rich and full of joy. I have so much to be thankful for. So I am here to say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I thank my mom and my dad for raising me and for loving me. I thank my brother for supporting me. I thank all my friends for caring about me, and for everyone here for the role that they've played in my life, because I wouldn't be the same without you all. I wouldn't be here talking about myself if it weren't for you. So from the bottom of my heart, I really want to say thank you, not just for being here, but for the reason you are here, because of what you put into me, and because of the life that I'm living as a result of that. So thank you very much. And in celebration of the life that I've lived so far, I want to share a slideshow, not one that I've designed, but that my mom, the tech wizard of the family, obviously, has put together herself. So we're going to dim the lights here, and the music in the background of the slideshow are all going to be compositions of mine. Most of the pictures are ones that she took, whether or not I really wanted her to take them. But this should give you a little bit of a visual for the life story that I shared and kind of why I am where I am.
a few minutes. If anyone has anything they're dying to say about Rylan, this is your opportunity.
Rylan Luke Schuttkegel. What can anyone say? I have known this eminent man for 18 years, but he seems to surprise me now more than ever. He surprises me and he amazes me. How incredible to say that my little brother is an animator who has studied with someone from Hollywood. How incredible to sit on our couch with an Xbox controller and play the game that you programmed, lovingly developed, and thoughtfully executed. How incredible to see your entrepreneurial drive come to fruition as you begin marketing your creative projects. How incredible that you are here with us on the cusp of a brilliant life. What I find most incredible, however, is the unsettling and unspeakably rich opportunity I have been given to learn from my little brother. I've learned, for instance, what a real drawing looks like. I have learned how diverse are the school assignments that can be enhanced by some computer programming. And I've learned more than I ever really wanted to about 21st century electronic music. But those are not the things that I remember, so I thought I'd share one thing I do remember that you taught me many, many years ago. Little Kyler and Rylan decided that it would be admirable to choose a life motto. I quickly settled on the motto, life is a drama. Surprise. Whether or not it was in response to that motto, you submitted this motto, life is too short to wear a frown. Now, you have always been a comedian. In fact, I often think you are ridiculous. And 10 minutes ago was one of those times. But even so, Ben, you have helped me to see the eternal value of a smile. Your smile is one of my favorite things in the world. And I think that's partly because it expresses a fundamental piece of your character that I've gotten to witness over 18 years. A determination to savor the good and to face the bad without despair. Of course, little Rylan's motto, that life is too short to wear a frown, became real in a new way as we made the most of this summer's beginning, unsure of how long your own life might last. But in another sense, that was only an extension of something you have always been teaching me. So please don't stop smiling. Animate, program, compose, study. Start a business if that's what moves you, but let people see your smile. Because life is too short to forget about it. There is a great deal that I could say, but that is a large part of what you mean to me. So I will let the rest of your adoring fans take the rest. I cannot wait for you to join me at George Fox and to see the smiles you will undoubtedly etch on many faces. As a wise man once told me, stay classy. I, and indeed the world, wait in eager suspense to find out how you will next change us. Godspeed.
How thankful I am, Rylan, for your friendship, for every kid in my family. And if you guys don't know Rylan, he is as good a friend to Charity, our 9-year-old daughter, as he is to our older kids. When he comes over to visit, he's the best playmate for any kid that we have. And I just want to say how thankful I am that you have been such a good friend and so thoughtful to my younger kids. And also thank you for sharing your talents with me. In my Latin classes, he's designed a whole bunch of beautiful art, maps. He's got an amazing range of talents, and I just wanted to say how proud I am to know you, thankful that you've shared those talents with us, and that you've shared your friendship with my kids, and I want to wish you the best of luck with you in this next year, and also as we continue to work together making more art. And so, thank you.
Funny. This is top secret speech. I love that. I know Rylan from speech and debate, and I've been a teacher for many, many years. Like, I realized it was over 20 years a while back, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a long time. And I've had a lot of different students, and there are always a few that really stand out. And one of those times is when your student becomes your teacher. And I think Rylan has been that for me. I think this summer, I had a ton of fun with Rylan. I mean, the speech and debate was incredibly fun, and him and his family all were really a big part of it going at the beginning. It wouldn't have happened without their help. They were one of the founding families, so that was amazing and super fun. But this summer is where I really saw the strength in Rylan. I remember first seeing him after all the news came out. And I was giving him a hug, and while I was trying to, comfort him, his words to me were comforting me. And I think when the student becomes a teacher, you really feel like you've done a job well. And our family's had some challenges of their own of different types. And I think that motto, life's too short to go through it with a frown, is a good motto, because we all need that when we go through those times. And I just thank you, Rylan, for being my teacher. And I pray that you will continue to share your optimism and your joy with others the rest of your life.
I didn't say anything at Kyler's graduation because I didn't think I could make it through. I'm not sure why I think I can make it through. I was just writing down a few of the things that we've experienced over the years, Rylan, all the way back from Friday Creek to so many homeschool play dates, homeschool field trips. Sometimes we would just make them up just because we knew you guys wanted to get together, and so, or sometimes they would make them up and they'd say, Mom, shouldn't we go on a field trip to the bread store or to the ice cream shop, or just because they wanted to play together. Playing soccer together, Beth being their coach, one of their first coaches, and a wonderful one. Calling each other cuz, just because they spent so much time together that they felt like they were kind of like cousins. And the list goes on. But one memory I have that just makes me smile is when Rylan stayed overnight one night and he couldn't sleep during the night, and I heard kind of this ruffling around kind of in the computer area, and I come out and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Kooiman, I just couldn't sleep, and I just was looking for a piece of paper. Do you think I can have some paper? So I give him this, stack of computer paper, and in the morning he had etched out kind of like Veggie Tales, all of our family in pickles. And our youngest at the time was spitting out his pacifier. It looked like it was in full motion. So that was just something that still makes me laugh, because I still have it. But I too wanted to thank you, Rylan, for being such a good friend to our whole family, and to all of our kids. And it's been such a joy to watch you grow from a teeny tiny guy to a young man, someone who has integrity and compassion. And we are just so excited for you in this phase of life and going on from here. And we pray that the Lord will work through you mightily. We love you.
Well, I had no idea we were going to have an opportunity to speak. I hate to pass up an opportunity like that where I could use many grandiloquent words. If I would have thought, I would have brought some larger words. You see, I had the opportunity to be this young man's kindergarten teacher. And we have many great memories from those times together. And one of the things I would always say to the students in the class was I'd lean over and I would say, if any of you would bake an apple pie and invite me over, I'll bring the ice cream. Well, it was a few years later I got a telephone call from one of my students. Rylan had baked an apple pie and invited me over, and I brought the ice cream. It was great fun. But being the opportunist that I am, I was watching this young man grow up, and I was watching all of the skills that he had acquired in his life. And as a publisher and author myself, I had need of his talents for some of the authors that I was working with. So I got together, we had our first business meeting at Starbucks. And we talked about the opportunity for him to come alongside and start doing some book cover designs. He did a phenomenal job. I mean, fantastic. The authors were so pleased. But the problem was, I had to hide him. Because when they wanted to know who this was that was doing it, I couldn't tell them it was a 15-year-old kid that I was meeting at Starbucks and buying with coffee. How many 15, 16-year-old people can you put that kind of a responsibility on? Because if he would not have met the deadlines, if he would not have worked within the parameters that we had, it would have been my neck. So obviously I had a lot of respect for his work ethic, and his ability to finish a project. And I too want to congratulate you on everything you've done. You have an outstanding reputation. You have represented your family and homeschooling well. And all of us here today, we are pretty happy to be able to say that we knew you growing up, and we're going to know you for the rest of our lives. God bless you.
So Rylan, I just wanted to share with you some of my recollections from being around you and some of the things that you've meant to our family. And I doubt I'll make it. I can't look at you. So now that's known. So our time together started at Friday school. And one of my first memories of you and the impact you would have on our family's life is encapsulated in a picture that is currently on my desktop. And it is of a little Indian and a little pilgrim with their arms around each other. And you provided for our family a second brother, a brother for my only son. And he has been told his whole life to calm down, not so rough, not be the fastest. And you provided an opportunity for him to be able to be a boy. And that was one of the most important parts of his being able to grow up. So your mom and I endured a lot of really interesting races and backyard plays with Benjamin and your brother, Tyler, and Katie, and they were bad plays. I just have to say, they were really bad. So then we got to endure what I like to lovingly call the tank top phase. Does anybody remember the tank top phase? So prior to testosterone entering a young man's body, he really shouldn't have and doesn't have good muscle mass. Phenomenally, Rylan did. And so he wanted to show that off. At about, Beth, what was that, 10? 9? I mean, this really shouldn't have been possible. And there's just a lovely picture I have in my mind of a very young Rylan with actual biceps. Does anybody else remember this? Kissing them in the Zula play. Completely in character. Part written for you. And then we had young presenters together, which you loved so much. Staying on your sarcasm theme of earlier. He hated virtually every month. And Young Presenters was a speech club that I had started, and we met once a month to do a speech of all different types, and we thought if we just we're going to find the sweet spot, and he's going to like something. And I kept saying that, it's going to happen, Beth, it's going to happen, let's just keep doing it. And nope, he hated it. Everyone. He did them dutifully, and that's what was so impressive, is that you dutifully did a good job, in spite of really, really hating those things, until we got to interns. And then I remember just watching you were sitting at a table for the presentation, and you had brought in a costume and wrote out the whole entire speech was done as a dialogue with himself. And that's when we knew this is actually his niche. And so entering STOA, my recollection there was watching this gaggle of girls. And I thought, who is in the center of that? Oh, it's Rylan. And I would sometimes ask my daughters, did you talk to Rylan today when they were at tournaments? I said, well, we talked to him for a little while, but then we had to stop because we don't want to be seen as one of the girls that's in the group. But Rylan was always very kind to all the girls in that group, and then he even joined debate, yes, debate, for a year. He did come to all practice sessions in shorts, though, just to make sure that he didn't lose who he was. Recently, one of my daughters, Mary, she decided she really wanted to explore art and wanted to interview someone, an artist, and the first person that came to mind was you. Because you are an artist. You're the best artist I know. And the wisdom that came out of that session was incredible. Folks, he sat and talked to a 10-year-old girl and talked about the vulnerability of an artist and explained to her how important it is to approach that vulnerability appropriately for herself, but also look at opportunities to offer that as a gift to others. That showing your art is hard. And so you can imagine my pleasure walking in today and seeing not one but 2 sketch pads sitting out. And I just want to acknowledge how important that vulnerability is and what your vulnerability means to me and to my family. You, Rylan, create a very strong paradox, and that is of strength and kindness. And I don't think I've seen that in anyone in my life, that combination, with both of those traits being as strong in you as they are. And so in closing, I just would like to offer you the words of a new mutual friend of ours, G.K. Chesterton, who said, "A small artist is content with art, but a great artist is content with nothing except everything." And that is you, Rylan Graduation. I love you.
I'll just make it very short. First of all, I'm a member of this congregation, and I must say, I can't be prouder to be an individual who knows Rylan and who came to me during the several debates that he was participating in, asking me to be one of the judges, and I was scared to death. I didn't know, how to go about it, what to do, but anyway, he just calmed me down, which was nice. And the other thing that really struck me was we've both been battling the cancer. I came down with prostate cancer, or was found that I had prostate cancer back in 2011, and of course with Rylan's experience with his problem. And just the way he went about it, the strength that he came across, I never thought that me as an 80-year-old could learn from an 18-year-old. But he showed me a strength, I guess I have to use the word love too, that came across to me, that, that self pity that some of us, come down to where they want to feel sorry for myself. Well, he had the strength and the willpower to deal with that. And I can't say enough about how that came across to me, and it gave me the encouragement to keep plugging away with, the challenges that I have. I think the future looks great for you, Rylan. You have the talents, you have the willingness, the determination to go about whatever you put your mind to. So with that, congratulations.
Okay, so I love this kid a lot. And there are a lot of reasons for that. To avoid being here all day, I'm only going to talk about one of those reasons. So Rylan, I've been at school for the past few months. You're aware. A lot of the rest of you are. And one of the things that I've learned is that we have a lot of things that we have to juggle in terms of what's important to us. And a lot of those things are assignments that are given to us by teachers. Sometimes those are priorities of our own. Sometimes those are hobbies that we want to pursue. Sometimes those are competitions that we want to enter. So we have a lot of things that we have to choose what to value and what's really important to us. And what that means is you can't value all of it all at the same time. And a lot of the times you have to make choices as to what's actually important in any given situation. And so prioritizing is really important. And that can be really, really hard. But Rylan, you prioritize people. Every time. And I don't know if you know how hard that is, but you do it so effortlessly. And it's a lot harder, I think, for a lot of people than it is for you. So this is my piece of advice for you as you're going into school, or specifically next year going to college. It's going to be harder than you can imagine. And there's going to be a lot more to do than you can possibly imagine right now. But don't forget to keep doing what you're doing now and to always prioritize people, because people are always more important. And you know that, you already do. But don't forget that. Okay, I love you, kid. I just don't know.
Well, here we are again. And I'm looking at one of two very fine young men that sit in that front row. And I couldn't be more excited to be here and celebrate with you, Rylan, today. When I think about you, I always smile, because that's what you bring about to so many other people that you meet. And I think it's been such a privilege for me to watch you grow, to see you as a 4-year-old and meet you on Camino Island and hear you talk about a baseball game and your grandma and the Mariners, and then to see where you are today and all the in-between stages. And you are one of a kind, you are unique. And what I think about you mostly is the light that I see that shines in you. And I know where that light comes from, and you are discovering that in your faith journey and through your cancer journey. But that light comes from Jesus himself, and he is so bright within you. You all of the gifts and the talents that you have, he's bestowed upon you, and you've carried it well. And I'm so excited to see what the Lord will do with all of that as you allow that to just penetrate the world that needs it so badly. You're so fun. I remember sitting around your table and engaging with you and your family, and I'm just always so, I come away just so lifted up with your presence. And both you and your brother have that presence, that gift that you give people, just as the young lady that was just up here spoke about. And I pray for you as you journey ahead. And I know that your parents couldn't be prouder today, your congregation, and the people that you've influenced every day of your life. God bless you. I love you.
So I can't hope to match the eloquence and the very good speeches that have been made today, but I'm going to try anyways. So my experience with you started about 4 years ago, that it feels much longer than that, in speech and debate. And some of the top highlights include making our own movie and then figuring out that movie was basically trash and then having to redo it again. And then it was a semi-good movie. I mean, it was not that great, but I mean. And then, also, you are one of the only people who will actually arm wrestle me, although I mostly lose in those contests. And you've always been a very good friend to me, and you've always been there, and we've had many, many opportunities to grow together and to develop great bonds. And so I am proud to call you my brother, and I will be always your friend. Thank you.
Well, I need to make a presentation. After, how many years of homeschooling does that take? Is that 12 or something like that? 15, but who's counting? 18, okay. Of course, Rylan made it, but he made it because Beth made it. So, I'm so thankful, I just have to say, for what many of you in the homeschool community and just parents, period, what you do to take care of and love and support your kids. And Beth does it like she's the best. And my Christmas gift is just for Rylan to know and love Jesus Christ. So I'm going to ask him to come, and if you'd like to come and pray with me over Rylan, we're going to just kind of come on up front, and we're, if you will, kind of commissioning. Anybody who'd like to come up, please come. And then many of you know this, I have the opportunity every Sunday of speaking a blessing that God gave Moses and Aaron to speak over his people, Israel. If you like to lay hands on him or whatever you'd like to do, it's just fine as we pray for him and the center. So not only as a pastor, but more importantly, or firstly as a father, is to pray God's blessing. To speak God's blessing. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for your hand on Rylan and on each one of us. Thank you for your loving eye. Thank you that you are the good shepherd and that we never leave your love, your loving care and your watchful eye. This year, thank you that you brought him through cancer. You have a purpose, unique and beautiful and glorious and perfect purpose for his life. And we invite you, in the name of Jesus, to fulfill it. Thank you. Thank you for being a loving father and friend to all those who believe in you and the world that you want to know you. Pray you would complete your work in Rylan's life and that you would be with him. Rylan, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor, smile upon you, and give you his peace. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you all so much for coming.